What's going on, everybody? This is the ceremonial oh my god, shit just gets better and better. No, things aren't actually that bad, but after I recorded that episode yesterday saying how I should get some sleep and all that, I ended up not getting any sleep. I mean, I got about an hour before, maybe an hour and a half before my kids got home, which is, wasn't too bad, but and then my wife was sick, not feeling well, so she had trouble doing shit, so I had to do the running around to cadets. Actually, no, someone picked up my son for cadets, so that was nice, and dropped him off. But I had to bring my daughter to and from dance, and then had to go to Walmart and get her grapes and a few other things that she wanted. So I did that. And then when I got back, the baby must have had a nap for the little bit of time she was at daycare, because she didn't fall asleep till about, I want to say 8:30 when I finally stopped hearing her talk. So by then I ended up just doing a meditation, ritual meditation, and got up and went to work and haven't slept yet since. And so I did a bunch of running around, dropped the baby off for her little 4 hours, and went home to get in the house, and my fucking front door is locked, and I barely ever lock my door because I got a dog, and she will do what's necessary to protect my house because we have that communication, and I speak to her. And if you ever want to know how to do that, I can maybe go over that. But Frederick Xavier, the Mind and Magic channel, has an absolute excellent episode about how to talk to animals, how to talk to pets, and it's just about holding a thought, the image of what you want the pet to do, or what you're trying to convey to the pet in your mind, like a visualization. Now, this works best if you have cross communication and a faster path to your subconscious mind, like if you've actively done like me and made sigils to have your sigils work faster, and did spells and sigils and candle magic to get your manifestation to happen faster, and things like this. Then when you go to do, sorry about that, the wife called. But yeah, so when you go to do this visualization, holding the thought in your head of, you want your dog to go outside, or you want to tell your dog to be nice around certain people, or to not bark without yelling at them, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe it's a couple birds that you want to come close to you. We go to the bird sanctuary, and we want birds to fly up on us, so we put bird seed in our hands, and they do that, and they do it pretty well. You don't really have to do what I was just talking about that I learned from Frederick Xavier. But if you do that, you put off a vibe that you're not there to hurt them, which they know that, because most people that go there, no one goes there to shoot or hurt these birds. It's a sanctuary after all, so they are protected. But point is, this is a good way to test your skills out, going somewhere where birds can land on you, or a zoo or whatever, and try to get the animals to do something that's in your head. And see, obviously you do like magic, you start off with something easy. But anyways, that's all that, just to say that my dog protects my house, so I don't, and we got an alarm system too, but we don't use that much. If we do, it's just on the doors if they get busted open when they're not supposed to. But with my cat and my dog, which the cat's recent, by the way, but with the cat and the dog and the motion sensor, you can't really set that bitch, because they'll have that going off. But anyways, so yeah, pretty shitty, ready to go to sleep for, right up until I have to go to work tonight. The lunch ready, everything all fucking ready to go. Mostly there, a couple things I got to do before. And, the door's fucking locked. It's like, and sleeping is so important. And I know I made an episode on how you can maybe replace sleeping with meditation, but it would take time. And it's just because there's benefits with meditation that happen faster. If you're not, you can get more out of a small meditation, and it's equivalent to, a lot of hours of sleep. But point is, when you're sleeping, there's a lot of things going on, and everything is said, from your cruise around the astral to you're at school learning stuff to your body's healing or growing if you're still like a kid growing, or whatever the case is. And all I know is this sleeping is good for your body. It rejuvenates you, and too much sleep, obviously some people don't feel great after having too much sleep, but that just there's a lot of different things I could say about that, and I'm not going to say anything about that. But That's not what I'm here to talk about today, but I just want to point out that, you know, it's just kind of shitty how it works out. You got to watch what you say sometimes, because, you know, I actually thought that, fuck, is the door locked? You know, and then it turns out fucking door was locked. Cock-sucking motherfucking shit. Sorry, bus, I'm cutting you off. Oh, man, it's so bad to cut off a fucking school bus. Somebody call the cops. No, he had a yield sign, so it's not cutting him off, is it? Anyways, so, episode yesterday about Freemason, Illuminati, Christianity, blah, 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 blah. Now, I just want to point to, a long time ago, I made an episode about Christianity and the Pope, and anybody, you know, in governments who's pushing Christianity, such as maybe Donald Trump, or anybody who likes to say the States is a Christian country and shit like that, even though they're founded by Freemasons. I just want to say that I made an episode a long time ago saying that and this is part of my beliefs now as well, but I believe that Christianity is and this hasn't changed, but it's a religion for the masses to keep you guys believing in something else that will never come, that keeps you happy and working and thinking being poor is okay, so you never fucking become rich, because becoming rich would be bad, and it's not what Jesus said. The poor will inherit the earth, and that's not true. That's not what that says. It says something completely different. Not going to get into that either, but another mistranslation among many, and that's not even a really big important one, but besides the point. But so I believe that Christianity and Judaism and all the religions probably use astrology and magic and sorry, my car is just making some sounds, but it's just the rocks I'm driving on. I didn't realize there were fucking rocks on this road. It's supposed to be a road without rocks. There tends to be a lot of rocks here. Just fucking with my shit right now. But anyways, so all that I said yesterday about Illuminati and Christianity and Freemasons and all that, I just want to point out that I still think that Christianity uses, astrology and shit like that. There's a reason that, in the fucking Vatican, St. Peter's Square, the big St. Peter statue, is Jupiter, and it's not Jesus Christ. But anyways, but all that being said, they do promote the Christianity thing, and I said yesterday that there's a good chance that once I figure out that the Illuminati was just them saying Illuminati and all the celebrities and all this shit, it's all satanic worship. I just proved that the Freemasons, I'm in the process of proving that Freemasons, people like Albert Pike isn't a bad satanic worshiper like everybody said. He actually believes in God and was trying to put out occult information for the masses to know, to be able to change their life and shit like that. The fact that that's wrong, then the fact that the Freemasons might be the Illuminati and satanic worshippers is most likely wrong, and the fact that the Illuminati being demonized is probably wrong. Therefore, me thinking Christianity is, doing this on purpose could also be wrong. And I'm not saying that is or isn't. Like I said, I still believe that they use astrology and all that. And, I can make the argument that, okay, they promote this Jesus thing to keep people in a state of, fear, that they don't go to hell, and be good so you go to heaven. It's the ultimate retirement plan, blah, 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 blah. But I can also make the point that, and maybe this is how they justify it too. Well, okay, we do this so we keep the power, but at the same time, the people that are smart enough to realize that this shit isn't right, what we're saying and promoting isn't accurate, well, we're helping wake these motherfuckers up, so we're actually providing a service. And this is how you get around this whole duality thing, Someone says you're doing bad, well, you can say, well, no, I'm not doing bad, because for all the bad I do, it helps wake motherfuckers up. So technically, I'm doing a higher calling, I'm doing a higher cause. And that is the best way to look at polarity, in my view, is looking at good and bad bullshit, saying someone is either evil or someone is either the fucking pinnacle of Christianity or God, or is the what you should aspire to be. Okay, well, aspiring to be somebody who is good is not a bad thing. But calling people evil, I mean, I've said this before too in another episode. If Donald Trump is evil and psycho and all this, well, he is helping awaken people. He is helping people realize that Christianity is not right. He's helping people realize that the church and state shouldn't be the same. And it says that in the Bible, that the church and state will be the same. And it basically almost is at this point. But the fact that there's a big backlash and people going against it tells me that, you know, this shouldn't happen. Or it's not going to happen. And, you know, all I'm trying to say here, and sorry, forgive me because I'm fucking super tired and I'm just pulling into my house, so I'm having visualizations of my bed. But all this to say basically that I eventually am going to probably come to terms with the fact that Christianity, as evil as it may be to me, and as not evil as it is to most people who are practicing the faith, it will eventually end up being same as what I just said the Illuminati and Freemasons are, and magic and witchcraft, how it was demonized and now it's not anymore to me anyways. It's all going to be the same. It's all going to be, well, yeah, okay, they did it for power and they kept their power, but they needed to keep that power just so they can keep waking up people. You know, you can't wake up people by being good and telling people the truth, you know. You have to fucking polarize them against you so they go the opposite direction, and when they go all the way the opposite direction, they realize, okay, well, this isn't right either. So I wasn't right the first time, and I'm not right now. Well, what is right? And the only right is to be right in the middle, to realize that Christianity is both good. Alright, so I was talking about where right was when it comes to the Christian faith. If it's right for Christianity to, well, fuck, what you turn off? Sorry about that, my heat wouldn't turn off. That was fucking weird. I was talking about if it was right for Christianity, Christian faith to, you know, have their power, but abuse their power and keep us in, you know, fear, because ultimately that's how they wake people up. They can't just tell people, well, this is what you need to do, and, you know, we've done this to wake you guys up, and then people wake up. So, like, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually pretend to, you know, be against people to get people to go against you and actually find the truth out and all that. But anyways, I'll give something that happened today. During the day, my wife booked an appointment. I was a little upset about it after having because she went to work today, even though she wasn't feeling good last night, and I had to go to work last night, even though I had to watch the baby overnight and in the morning. And then she books an appointment for a guy to come look at our dryer, because our dryer, the door kept opening up on its own. The sensor thing has been gone for a while, like to hold the light button down in there so it operates. And the lint trap was, there was gaps. So clothes were getting stuck in there. The lint wasn't coming out with the lint trap. A bunch of problems. And, you know, she made the appointment for the guy to come over. And, you know, there's a miscommunication there because he thought it was a service call or something to that effect. But he said he needed a phone number or something so he can call Samsung, which is who makes our dryer. But so he can call them to tell them that he has a customer and he needs certain parts. And so he comes over, and then he comes in the house. He's like, hey, I won't be long. I'll just go see what you guys need. And, you know, maybe it's because my lint trap was such a big mess and it was a fire hazard, because, you know, but he ended up being there for, I want to say 40 minutes working on my dryer. And, you know, after it was all said and done, he comes up, tells me, you know, you need this, you know, you need that. And, you know, as of recently, I know when people say shit like that, you know, you got to be careful, because, you know, the way they say it, sometimes it's just trying to imply, like, making you want to agree with them, especially when you're a guy, right? Like, if you don't know mechanics or some stuff like that, some guys feel like it's a pride thing. So yeah, I knew that, you know. So anyways, he started saying all that shit, and then I told him, like, well, I was under the assumption that you were simply coming here just to look at my dryer so you can tell us what the damage is going to be, so we can tell you when we're able to afford this. Because I'm like, truth be told, I never carry money on me, even if I had the money in the bank for you right now, but I don't have cards on me, which is not true. Like, we actually had it in the bank, well, at least for the service call, not for everything that he was going to charge us for, but we had enough for the service call, is what he ended up calling it. But, you know, I wasn't telling him that because that wasn't what he was supposed to be there for. Not that he didn't do a good job, because he did. But so he got a little upset I said, because initially before I told him I didn't have any money, I said, well, if it's all the same to you, I don't really need to know what's wrong with it. I'm like, my wife's going to be the one paying you dealing with this. So I'm like, if you could just bill her or tell her, send her an invoice. So he said, whoa, I don't bill people if you don't have the money. I'm like, I'm not ordering any parts. And he's like, basically, I'm worried about the fact that I just did a bunch of work down there, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, I was under the assumption you weren't coming here to work because I needed to sleep and I didn't want anybody, being here, taking up my time. I'm like, I'm not being rude. I get you were just doing a job and all that, and there's a miscommunication somewhere. So he tells this guy who's helping him to go get him his bill sheet or his receipt sheet, something to that effect. So anyways, he tells me he's got to call Samsung for the one part. He's like, they're the only people that have the part. And he tells me that there might be a wait time for it to be sent to him. So I said, okay. So he calls them, has a conversation. Kind of sounds like a guy over the phone. But when he ended the call, he said, ma'am. I know that was funny, but, maybe I just heard wrong. Doesn't matter. Not really the point. But, so the one piece that we needed was the tunnel for the lint trap. And it was $129, and it was going to take 2 to 3 weeks for that piece to come in. So, okay. And then the other piece was for the sensor to be held down. And that was $48 according to them. So he's going to do it all at once. And it was $77 for what he did today for the service call. So all that being said, so I just got to check the time real fast. Sorry guys. Alright, so all that being said, so it was going to be $77 for the price of today, but he said if she could call and pay that $77, he would book the parts, and if we book him to do the rest, he will knock half that price off. So $129 plus 48, you're looking at fucking $170, almost $180 there, $130 plus $150, almost, right? That's $180, and then plus the $70 is fucking whatever, and then he was going to charge us time. So after he left, me and my wife get to talking. I go downstairs and I check, and what he told me about the lint trap and the reason why, he said he fixed everything because he had to. It was a fire hazard and all that. He's like, but it will go back to normal. It will start doing what it did again because of the gap in the lint trap and all that. When I went down, I'm not an expert. I'm not gonna pretend I'm an expert, but it looked a hell of a lot better. The door was latching, which it wasn't latching before. The sensor thing was still off, though we had a piece of duct tape holding that down. He said not to do that. He would, anyways. But everything looked a lot better. It looked great. Everything was flush. Like, it was better than it's been, like, fucking, I don't know, probably since after the second year we had it. But anyways, so I tell my wife, I'm like, I don't know, I think he fixed everything. And whenever he realized we weren't paying him, he fucking was going to fuck us over. That was the first thing that came ahead, and I told her that. So then he put the model numbers of the pieces on my receipt along with the price. So I just Googled fucking Samsung parts, and it didn't even take me to the Samsung website, which he said was the only place to get these pieces, and they're expensive, and he wouldn't go somewhere else if he could, but he has to go to them. And I put in my model for my fucking my dryer, and I was looking for the parts, and I saw the tray was $48 for just the lint trap itself, but we didn't need one of those. We needed the tunnel. So I put in the code for the tunnel, and his price was $128. And it came up on this different site, not even from Samsung, for my model, $57. So I was like, holy fuck, what the fuck? And then the $48 piece that he quoted us at came in at $17. So I was like, what the fuck? I'm not wrong. He is trying to fucking hustle us. What the fuck? So just goes to show you that, this guy would have probably got away with hustling me if I hadn't fucking looked this stuff up to figure it out. And, I might have kept getting hustled by other people. But it took this one guy to polarize me against him, to do this right. And, now maybe he won't do this to other people because I'm going to call him and tell him why I'm not booking him. I am going to pay him for the $77 for the work he did, but I'm not going to pay him for anything else because he doesn't, I'm going to get the pieces myself, and if I can't install it, I'll pay someone else and already have the pieces here. But point is, it kind of plays into the whole polarity thing we were talking about with the Christ church, with Christians, because, for them to claim that, well, everything they did was for the good of people. Well, he can claim the same thing, He was doing this to basically make sure I don't get taken advantage by other people. you know, and if he gets away with it, well, then he makes an extra buck. But if I end up catching on, well, then great, you know, he doesn't make the extra money. And now going forward, I always know to check everything and not just take people's word for shit. So anyways, I guess the point is of the story today is that, you know, the man came over. I don't know what was said between him and my wife. My wife swears that he said he was just going to come look. And, you know, he decided to work anyways. Maybe it was an accident. He thought he was going to do it. Maybe he thought we had more money than we did, or you just assumed we would pay, or we had something to give him. Which, you know, that's the one thing about me lately. I don't give a shit about. One good thing I can say about depolarization that before, whereas, you know, some honest mistake, or so I would think an honest mistake like that would happen, because looking at his character, you know, the minute I couldn't pay, he didn't clean up his mess in the basement, and he turned around and charged me almost triple for each part, you know what I mean? And so, you know, by going down there and fucking, you know, saying he was just going to look at my shit, that gets him into the house, and then he goes and fucking does the work and then says, well, it's like a service call. Your shit was so bad, yeah, it was like a service call, and I charged this much for a service call. Which, if you take the two parts that I said, the actual price of both parts, $17, which he marked down for $48, and the 57 that he marked down for $129. You know, 57 plus 17 equals what? For $74, and he charged us $77.98. You know, $3 more. You know, it's just fucking crazy. Like, it's not far off. But anyways, point is, you know, it could have been an honest mistake, and, you know, but instead of trusting me or whatever, and I can't blame the guy, you know, most people probably aren't trustworthy in this fucking day and age, but, you know, I plan on paying him even though he tried to screw us over. And, you know, he fixed my shit for us, but he didn't put any parts into it, and he's charging me the same amount of price as the parts, you know, and $4 for labor, which is pretty cheap, to be honest. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I totally would have paid the man if he had came and did the work for me, and I couldn't pay him until Friday. You know, honest mistake, he had to do the work, and I would totally pay him. But anyways, just goes to show you that, you know, if you are going to let people take advantage of you, then people are going to take advantage of you. And, you know, people want change to happen, but yet, by going along with what society wants us to do, you know, by going along and doing the things, because, you know, well, it's too much to rock the boat. It's, you know, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to change things. Well, then the alternative is people are going to keep using you and abusing you. The only way to stop is to stand up for yourself and do something about it. You know, and that's whenever you find out that everything was just a test and was pushing you to this point ultimately anyways. So that's enough about that. Now I'm going to play something from the Higher Self channel. I love New Age stuff, especially whenever it talks about shit that I've been talking about. So my last couple of videos and episodes, I've been talking about me, my wife, and a couple of things I didn't say. Like last Saturday after we made up after the second fight, I was so tired I had trouble keeping my eyes open. You're going to understand why I say that now. But a lot of the things I've been saying about, talking about, you know, there's a lot of synchronicity between what the people are channeling from the ARCTURIANS, and try not to get too polarized whenever you hear ARCTURIANS. I don't know if you're like me, and, you know, not positive of the whole alien thing, and, you know, Pleiadians, Arcturians, you know. I really like the idea of Pleiadians, but there's no way to really fucking know. So when I hear people channeling Arcturians, well, to me, there's enough people that believe in the Arcturians and Pleiadians and shit like that, that there's energy in those things, and, you know, you can be talking to your subconscious mind, and, you know, it's given the name Arcturians, it's like a fucking deity. It's not a meme show. It's the same fucking thing. That's all it is. But anyways, I do know that a lot of their wisdoms always help me out. But yeah, a lot of synchronicity between them. So I'll play the clips there for you, and I'll come back on and tell you why it's important.
I've been feeling that energy too. I felt that shift this morning, that we're going to start to see, first of all, other people waking up, and the chaos that's going to ensue, because we have so much energy here now for ascension, for the dissolving of the old structures, more so than we did when we all started our journey, right? A lot of the work that we had to do, a lot of the shifts that we experienced were very much internal. They were kind of slower, and we had a lot more time to integrate the changes. I feel like as we progress into December and into 2020, that this energy of ascension, of waking up, of really shedding those aspects of ourselves that no longer serve us in a positive way, that is going to speed up. And we have to be ready for that, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of the people around us. Because if they're not awake, if they're not as aware as we are, it's going to be a shitstorm for them, and they're not going to know which way to turn. So this isn't to say that we need to be trying to give people advice and tell people how to live their lives because we've been through it and all this other stuff. There's so much wisdom in just being the observer and allowing people to come to you when they need the help. To you, they're ready to receive the help. Another message that I got was resentment. The word resentment kept coming up, and I was asking my guides, what do you mean by resentment? And the first thing that they reminded me of is that cancer, the disease, cancer is a disease of resentment. So we know that energy likes to take the path of least resistance. So if we're dealing with negative patterns, negative energy, things that we haven't dealt with in our shadow, and we keep suppressing these things, they're going to show up in the body, the physical body somewhere, because that is the path of least resistance. But resentment is one of the worst things for a light worker, a light warrior, somebody that is awake, because we should be grateful for the experiences that we have. They might have sucked ass, okay? I'm not denying that, and we wouldn't wish that on anybody. We would never want to go through some of those experiences again. But to resent the people involved in the situation and to resent the situation itself is only stunting your growth, your spiritual growth. We need to move past that. And this does still mean that you need to create healthy boundaries, that you need to love and respect and honor yourself, but don't resent people or situations because you needed the lessons. So if that's something you're dealing with, ask your angels and guides how you can quickly move past the energy of resentment. I feel like that's a big theme this month. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Like I said, I will have the energy update out either Monday or Tuesday. So thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll talk to you again soon. Namaste.
Okay, so there is another infusion of energy going on right now. Okay, and so there are some things that you might feel as a result of this just going through this next week. This is a little more short-lived than what we just talked about, pushing toward this next full moon. This is just as a result of this energy. And so I did ask the ARCTURIANS to clarify. Now, the first thing you might be feeling is drowsiness, extreme drowsiness. This is drowsiness and the sudden need for a lot of sleep, but then wakefulness during the night or at odd hours. Okay, so it's a little different than your typical, slumber where you may sleep more as a result of cold weather. It's not that. Okay, the second thing you might be experiencing is seemingly unwanted thoughts. Okay, pay attention to this when this comes, or if you experience this. Unwanted thoughts coming in. This is as a result of you being urged to look at the truth about what it is you need to receive and release. The unwanted old thought patterns are coming in because more is being revealed to you about what you must let go of. Observe your innermost feelings. about a person or a situation in order to truly let go of those familiar feeling judgments, okay? So this will feel familiar to you, but it will be distant in a way. But you will recognize immediately as it comes up, if you ask yourself that question, why is this coming up again? You will recognize that you have been doing this, but that you have not been conscious of doing this all the time, or even conscious that this is a thing that you need to let go of. All right, so this is another leveling up, another step, if you will. Okay, so you must do this to rise to your desired level of mastery and continued higher self-integration. Okay, all right, so practice releasing the feeling, the emotion of the judgment in that moment. Okay, so I will probably do another video with steps about how to release these emotions in the moment, okay? These thought forms, these structures. All right, so the third thing you may experience is that there is a desire to move forward. It feels almost urgent, okay? Like back in, October, that sense of urgency almost to that extent, but it's without the physical drive or the direction. So it feels almost like you're at a standstill, but this is very temporary. So keep that in mind. It's very temporary, like a fleeting type of feeling that this is going to be, okay? Okay, the fourth thing that you might experience is a need for different types of foods than you would typically eat, okay? This is due to the shift in the intensity of the energies. Foods and behaviors that may promote rest and healing is what this is all about, okay? This is all focused toward balance. All of this is focused toward balance and to prep the ground, if you will, for the rebuilding that is coming. Okay, this is how the ARCTURIANS put it. The ARCTURIANS are also saying that this is of the utmost importance, so get your rest. Come out of fight mode and get into unconditional love and acceptance mode. And that's what's happening when you're feeling these familiar thought forms come back. In the moment, they will probably be small. They will probably be almost insignificant feeling, but you will catch them. You will probably feel like, why is this coming to my attention now? There will be like a light shown on it. And so it's all about switching the energy of what you're feeling in that moment from judgment mode or fight mode into unconditional love and acceptance mode. And this is relating to others around you. Okay, that's a major theme right now. Others around you, situations around you. Here is the Arcturian Council. Part of this is a result of, and also to perpetuate the withdrawing that you need to do in order to still yourselves, moving into the next succession, the next point of action, the next integration, the next realization. This is all with purpose. You must not endure others' drama. Simply look around you and observe. There is much to observe here, you see. Letting go is just a property of this transaction, this going forward. End transmission. So I hope this all makes sense to you. And if you feel any of this coming in, like light, for instance, being shown on something that you're thinking or feeling, just be prepared to release. And remember to always take care of yourselves. We talked about that last week in order to stay balanced emotionally and physically. Honor your body and get the rest and the nourishment, the food that you feel guided toward. Love all of you so much. Namaste, my friends.
Dear readers, know that the strife and conflicts taking place at this time on Earth indicate the shifts of consciousness that are happening. The status quo is being questioned and no longer blindly accepted by an ever-increasing number of people. The innate self-serving goals of many three-dimensional standards are beginning to be recognized for what they are, and as more and more awaken, will be eliminated or transmuted to higher forms. Know that all is proceeding according to plan. Some refuse to let go of three-dimensional concepts now being recognized by many others as false. They continue to identify with what is familiar in the belief that their belief system is their identity, showing others who they are. These dear ones believe that they would no longer be the person they believe themselves to be if they were to change. This type of thinking represents separation and demonstrates the common human need to create an ideal persona based in the individual's concepts of what constitutes a good, bad, perfect, ideal human, illusion at its finest. Many continue to believe and promote that change and new ways of thinking will never be as wonderful as in the past. These dear ones live in the past, nostalgic for what they falsely believe were the good old days, not realizing that the past only seemed better because the same issues being exposed today were very much alive at that time as well, but were hidden. Never forget that those who remain fully three-dimensional are also divine beings. Your job is to live from your highest enlightened realizations in the ordinary moments of each day. Many of those choosing to remain rigidly attached to illusion will at some point leave the planet, as they will not be able to align with the higher dimensional frequencies. Do not overly concern yourselves with those choosing not to awaken at this time, even if the person is a loved family member or friend. Remember, every person has a higher self, guides, and a spiritual contract, and this lifetime may not be their chosen time to awaken. After enough lifetimes lived in the illusions of duality and separation, every soul grows tired of the nonsense and begins to seek for more. Evolution can be postponed, but not avoided forever, because the reality of every soul is oneness with Source. Every one of you has experienced lifetimes mired in the sticky energy of duality and separation. It is important and necessary to have hundreds of different three-dimensional experiences before a person is prepared to let go and seek the deeper realities. That is how the ascension journey works. Everything you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell is energy. Everything is in vibration. The faster the vibration, the higher the frequency, the highest being pure light. High resonating frequencies cannot be seen with human eyes because the two frequencies, three-dimensional versus fifth and higher, do not align. This is why most people are unable to see their guides and beings from the higher dimensions. However, this is rapidly changing as the ascension process brings change to the personal resonance of every individual. There are some who have brought psychic abilities with them into this lifetime. They see ghosts and get information usually from the fourth dimension. Contrary to what many believe, psychic is not the same as spiritual. Psychic information flows through the consciousness of the individual giving the information and will reflect their level of awareness. Keep this in mind when getting a reading or body work from another. Seek out those who work from a high level of spiritual awareness and always trust your intuition. Earth is a spiritual universe filled with divine beings and governed by love, but what most see and experience are the false mental interpretations of this spiritual reality. This is why it is so important to practice non-judgment regarding appearances at all times. Example, rather than being shocked, repulsed, or pitying of someone with a severely deformed body, say to yourself, "Oh God disguised as a deformed body." This is unconditional love. We are not speaking of deformed fetuses. The soul does not enter a fetus at the time of conception as many believe. In preparation, the soul may come or go into the developing fetus during pregnancy, but many do not fully enter until birth. Unconditional love is a state of consciousness that is able to acknowledge the realities that lie hidden behind all appearances. It is a conscious realization of divine oneness, regardless of circumstances. It does not mean ignoring whatever human footsteps may be necessary, but does mean that these human footsteps are taken with a consciousness of oneness. Many of the negative situations you observe in others' lives are actually facets of that person's spiritual journey, experiences chosen by them, not consciously, as being necessary for their evolution. Even what is termed karma is an energetic reflection of energy given out, a learning experience and never punishment. God does not punish. God could not punish itself. Never forget that. All painful experiences are creations of the one experiencing and no one else. Consciousness is omnipresent energy. Energy is not good or bad, it just is. Everyone feels energy, although most do not understand what they are feeling. When you enter a place of heavy dense energy, you feel it and want to leave. These frequencies are commonly felt in bars, antique stores, and businesses that thrive on lower human instincts. When you enter a place where the energy is light and refined, you feel that as well. It resonates with you and you want to stay, commonly experienced in places of natural beauty or places of prayer and meditation. The state of consciousness of the individual determines the energy they align with. Those living fully in duality and separation, and who get all their pain and pleasure from this level, often enjoy being in heavy dark energy and frequent places of that density. Some go on to create their own situations of dark energy, satanic rituals, serial killers, and those who thrive on the pain and suffering of others. They feed from these energies because they are unable to access the inexhaustible source of energy within themselves. They have blocked their flow and need to find it elsewhere, outside of themselves. Always know that high energy frequencies of light are the reality, and that heavy low resonating energy cannot enter into the higher, because there is no alignment. Let this realization be your sword and shield in every situation. There exist many metaphysical protocols for protection, and most of you learned and have practiced them along the way of your spiritual journey. But you are now shifting into a higher state of consciousness where your light is the only protection you need. You no longer require rites and rituals meant to protect, lift you into the light, or bring you closer to God. These practices are based in beliefs of separation, and you now know that you never have been or ever could be separate from God. These practices serve newly awakening students of truth, and were important facets of your journey at one time, but at some point become obsolete. This is the shift from metaphysics into mysticism that you have been preparing for over lifetimes. Metaphysics is changing a bad picture into a good picture through the use of energy tools, mantras, etc. Mysticism is the realization that nothing needs to be changed, healed, or corrected. Let go of assigning power to anything that does not reflect truth, always remembering that God alone is power. You who read and resonate with these messages have been preparing through many lifetimes for a higher way of living, and are ready. There is nothing but God, divine consciousness, regardless of how the outer scene may appear. As you begin to acknowledge and live this truth, it becomes your state of consciousness and your lives will begin to reflect it, because you will be creating from reality rather than from concepts of duality and separation. We cannot emphasize enough that at some point, you must cease being the student and become the master. False ego-based humility will say, "Oh, I am not worthy." This type of thinking is impersonal and reflective of the unawakened three-dimensional collective belief system. Intellectual levels of spiritual study reach a place of completion, where one begins to be taught from within, rather than from some guru, book, class, or practice. There comes a point at which every individual must let go of the tools that served them along the way and begin living and being truth. It is every person's free will choice to stay in the illusions of separation, continuing to seek and search for some concept of God to save them. However, you have graduated and are ready to experience the infinity of consciousness not available to the human mind, should you choose. We are the ARCTURIAN group.
The ARCTURIANS, Important Points. By Suzanne Lai. July 13, 2015. Website: SuzanneLaiPhD.blogspot.com. Produced by Higher Self.
Dear readers, there are so many wonderful points made by the ARCTURIANS that I wanted to share some of them. The illusion of perceiving yourselves as only third-dimensional beings is leaving the consciousness of more and more people. That illusion arose from the fear that maybe you weren't good enough to be that higher version of yourself. Also, many of you have been connecting with your higher expressions of self. This connection is often either through your dream state, your meditations, your acts of creativity, and/or your higher expression of self who is saying to you, "We are you, you are us, we are one, we share your earth vessel with you." When we commune with you, we send our higher dimensional essence into your physical body to gain your physical attention. As we send our essence into your body, you begin to feel a sensation. At first you don't know what that sensation is, except that it seems to occur when you feel deeply aligned with your own higher dimensional expressions of self. Then, gradually, you begin to realize that when you remember to go down, 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 through your body, and into Gaia's core, you share your personal energy with Gaia's planetary energy, and intermingle your personal energy with Gaia's planetary energy. This deep grounding allows your physical body to embrace, and resonate to, a higher frequency of resonance than your physical body could embrace before. If you feel that you have taken in more light than you can digest, you can say, "Can we slow this process down a bit?" In other words, you chose to put on the brakes. You wouldn't get in your car and drive it if the brakes didn't work. In the same manner, you may need to activate your braking mechanism when you do not feel safe enough to expand into higher frequencies of light, yet. As you, our Earth representatives, go through this process of determining how much of your fifth dimensional frequency of self you can integrate into your physical body and into your physical life, please call on us, your galactic family. You can also call the Pleiadians, as they will be the first to land and interact with humanity. Of course, their landings have already begun. In fact, they are waiting for you to recognize them, right on that cusp of the 4th/5th dimension. There are many more sightings now, but you may wonder how you could have a group of people and 3 people see the sightings perfectly while the other 20 don't see it at all. This difference is based on one's state of consciousness. When one's consciousness is calibrated to the frequency of our ships, they can more easily perceive them. In fact, many of the ships are maintaining a frequency of the 5th dimension, but they take quick excursions into the 4th to test the limits of how far they can go just before the forces of darkness perceive them. We do not want the forces of darkness to perceive us because they will create fear on Earth. They will create some kind of false flag to create massive fear to lower humanity's consciousness. You have seen that Earth has had quite a few of these false flags lately, based on bombings and major shootings. These events were all directed by the forces of darkness to create fear to lower your consciousness. When you have a lower state of consciousness, you're just a 3D human. In reality, your 5th dimensional self serves as a portal to all of your multidimensional expressions of self. We ask you to connect your multidimensional self to your core, and your core to the core of Gaia. With this connection, you can feel how your light body self intermingles with your 3rd dimensional earth vessel, as well as with the core of Gaia. Now focus your attention on your crown chakra, which is your pineal gland. As you open your pineal gland, you feel a burst of light. Feel how this burst of light assists you to more completely feel the higher light of these higher frequencies, as they enter your crown and expand into all your chakras. However, you must modulate your light, because if the dark ones can feel that higher frequency of light, it frightens them, and it makes them angry. Then they create havoc. So we say this to you for those of you who are saying, why don't we see or feel this more? Why don't we know about this more? Why don't you just show up on our lawn? We, your galactic family, are protecting you. The forces of darkness could not harm any of us. But, in their attempt to harm us, they could harm you, or dear Gaia. Now, we ask you to feel yourself as being fully protected, connect through your crown chakra with this higher light of who you are. As you feel that higher light, allow it to come into the crown and your pineal gland. Then project that light onto the inner vision of your mind screen on the inside of your third eye. In this manner, you can more easily perceive us. All of the challenges you have had, and all of the challenges that you have cleared while wearing your third-dimensional body, have been documented, preserved, studied by our landing party. Your going down to Earth and being a human teaches us how humans think, how humans feel, and what humans need. When is it safe for us to show our ships? How is it safe for us to show our ships? How do we determine who is ready and who is not? You, our beloved grounded ones, are giving us invaluable information that will allow us to make these distinctions in humanity so that we can safely land into the hearts, minds, consciousness, and even some of the landed services of beloved planet Gaia. We would now be activated by the higher frequencies of light that are entering your solar system, as well as your planet, more and more. As you allow the fifth dimensional light to come into your physical body, that frequency of light is high enough to activate your 97% DNA. Remember, that 97% DNA is your light body, but it is your unmanifested light body. Then, as that DNA becomes turned on, it activates your light body. You see, your 97% DNA is connected to your fifth dimensional, multidimensional mind. Hence, that DNA, which is in your physical body, is connected to your multidimensional mind, which is within your aura. That DNA is also projecting your inner light into your aura. Then, that inner light of your aura returns back into your DNA. In fact, there is a two-way. As the light goes out into your aura and your aura absorbs it, then it moves out from your aura and into your etheric body and into the appropriate chakras that match the frequency of that light. Eventually, the higher light moves deep into your body, and into your 97% DNA. We are now going to give you an ARCTURIANS energetic weather report. We begin by saying that the energetic weather is hot and very humid. The reason that we say very humid is that your Earth vessel is largely made of water, as is your Earth. Therefore, just as your planet is largely made of water, your body is very similar to the percentage of water on the planet. But what happens as you age? It's much like clay. You don't want clay to get too hard. So you wrap it in this filmy net and keep it all together in a big clay pot. Then, you put the clay in the pot with water and you put the lid on. That is exactly the same for your brain. Now, with this weather report of hot and humid, what is occurring is that as this higher frequency of light is coming into your body, you will need to make sure that your brain is well taken care of. You will need to make sure that you eat right, take whatever supplements you need, that you don't bake yourself in the sun too much, or let your head get too hot or too cold. Think about your brain. Think about that fact that you are in the process of using components of your brain that have been latent for every incarnation that you have ever had. Within this now of the higher light entering your atmosphere, you are having more synaptic junctions. A synaptic junction is almost like a little lightning bolt. When two different concepts merge into a flash of a synaptic junction, it is much like lightning in the sky. However, this lightning is in your head. That's what we mean when we say that the energetic weather report is hot and humid. You will want to drink
dear ones, we wish to express our congratulations for the courage you hold in the face of many issues appearing to be in opposition to the peace and harmony you were expecting. Never doubt that what you are witnessing is the necessary process of a world waking up. There remain those who require powerful experiences in order to wake up, or even move a little beyond complacency. Many remain stuck in the glue of illusion. The true essence of every individual is divine, regardless of how they may act or what they believe themselves to be. Everyone living on Earth has chosen to experience a sense of separation in order to remember oneness. However, along the way of lifetimes, many got lost in the experiences of separation and became hypnotized, inadvertently creating a collective consciousness of duality and separation, the third-dimensional belief system. Observe and give gratitude for everything, for you are bearing witness to the awakening of the masses and the disintegration of the old. It is what mankind has desired and brought into manifestation. Those living with closed eyes are beginning to open them, and those with already open eyes are seeing more clearly. However, be alert to any judgments you may hold with regard to how the awakening process must appear. Now is a powerful time to be living on Earth, dear ones, for the light and assistance coming from the other side has never been more intense or available to the masses. Know that you chose to take advantage of these times in order to personally evolve, and then assist others through your work, words, or by simply holding the light. It is time to once again discuss power. All fear is based in the belief that something has power over something else, be the body, germs, laws, persons, circumstances of all kinds, or even a god of judgment looking down on you from on high. Fear comes naturally to humans because having lived lifetimes fully enmeshed in duality and separation, all have been well educated by their experiences. Fear still held in cellular memory will continue to express throughout lifetimes until cleared, manifesting for no seeming reason and with no apparent cause. You are ready to realize and embrace the fact that the new times are already here, not coming in the future. It is time to accept that false concepts and beliefs, no matter how familiar, must be left behind if you are to evolve further, much as a child leaves behind his toys when he matures. You have evolved beyond the need to continue seeking and searching, or depending upon tools for awakening. You have arrived. Through lifetimes of learning experiences, some good and some not so good, you have finally arrived at the more evolved part of your journey, which involves the process of disengaging from a third-dimensional belief system and all its seeming powers, if you are to reclaim and move into your own power as a spiritual expression. All there is one, and you can call that one anything you wish. Because there is only one of it, whatever it is. Thus, this must be the only law, reality, cause, source, and substance, etc., complete and whole in and as itself. In reality, there is no way anything could have power over you, because you already are the embodiment of the one and only power there is. That is, unless you don't believe it. This means that anything external seeming to have power over you must be illusory. Illusions are mind-formed, taking place within minds conditioned by beliefs of good and evil, duality and separation. Because there is only one, all see the same pictures. Manifestations of the third-dimensional belief system reflect either fear or happiness, duality. Know that good appearances are just as illusory as the bad ones. This is how it works for everyone because there is only one, until an individual chooses to come out from under the umbrella of the collective illusion to begin his journey into freedom. Only one power is the absolute, but to pretend to be in that state of consciousness before it is attained is very human. Do not rush out into busy traffic shouting, "God is the only power, nothing can kill me," because an intellectual knowledge of truth doesn't make it true for you. Knowing an absolute truth is the first step, followed by the practice and integration of it until it becomes an attained state of consciousness and can be lived easily without effort. Never beat yourselves up or rigidly resist some fear that may still seem to have power over you. Every human still carries, but is now clearing, old cellular memory from fearful experiences of the past. Long-buried fears often manifest when clearing, so if this happens, do not panic, claim it back in as your personal fear, or see it as something to get rid of, simply allow it to flow through and out. Generally, when emotions of fear, anger, frustration, etc., arise, just allow them while loving yourself and recognizing that they are guiding you toward a deeper examination of your belief system. What am I believing that is making me feel this way? Is it true? Begin to recognize and practice oneness, knowing that if there is only one, then nothing can exist outside of that one. In one divine consciousness, there is only completeness, harmony, peace, joy, and abundance, because that one is self-sustained and self-maintained with nothing to be in opposition to it, unless you believe there is. When individuals disengage from giving power to the external, fear and other negative emotions begin to simply fade away, because the only thing holding them in place was a belief in them. This does not mean the whole world is going to be immediately free, but as you become free, your light in turn automatically adds more light to the collective, because there is only one. Light is how higher frequencies are perceived with the eye, but energy can be felt on all levels. The lower and slower vibrations feel heavy and dense, and are easily felt in certain places you usually want to leave soon after entering, even though others may not even notice. The higher frequencies of unconditional love and truth appear as bright and clear light, and are experienced as joy, peace, and harmony. The more aware you become of who and what you are, the brighter and more refined your energy field becomes. This is why angels and ascended beings are seen as light, and is why saints are always portrayed with halos which reflect the high vibrating energy field of an evolved consciousness. We tell you this because more and more of you are beginning, or will soon begin to see and hear higher dimensional energies and beings. As one's energy field becomes more refined, there gradually unfolds the ability to align with like energies within the higher dimensions, energies which up to now you have only been able to read about, believing them to be separate and unapproachable, which is the case when you are unable to align with them. The ability to rest in truth despite circumstances is what dissolves appearances. Everything you become aware of is in reality a spiritual idea within the one divine consciousness. Remember, it is all there is, and therefore there can be nothing separate from the one. How truth is understood depends entirely upon the state of consciousness of the individual, which in the beginning simply reflects the collective belief system. Divine reality never changes, held in place by divine law. It just is. How it is understood and lived depends upon how completely one's mind, an avenue of awareness, is conditioned and programmed. For example, violence toward others is in reality a low-resonating interpretation of the constant flow of energy that takes place between all within the one. When this energetic connectedness is interpreted through a mind heavily programmed by a consciousness of separation, it expresses outwardly as low-resonating, distorted, and hypnotized forms that the perpetrator unconsciously believes offers solutions. Every individual, regardless of where they may be in their evolutionary journey, seeks peace and love, because peace and love is the true nature of every soul. However, how each strives to achieve that peace and love is individual. Even the murderer believes he is making things better in some way.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm back. My bad. So yeah, this is another 2 days of recording. However, I think the last time I was recording was on either on the way to work, on the way back from work. I think it was on the way back from work today. So the last thing I finished off with was saying I was going to play, I believe, some of this stuff from the Higher Self channel, the New Age stuff, the energy updates and shit that I like to listen to. And the reason is normally I'll get feelings coming on, whether it's headaches, temporal, and stuff like that. And, I can go to my lunar calendar to see where, when my moon is going to be entering my sun sign, so I know when to not have sex, so I can let my chrism oil go up for those 3 days it's supposed to. Well, go down from the solar plexus, chakra, and then up to the pituitary gland, and then to the pineal gland, and then boom, even more clairvoyant and third eye shit. But and that'll tell me a lot. But, I can go to the New Age sites and they're going to be talking about things that are going to be happening, things that haven't happened yet. And a lot of the times it's going to be kind of like what you heard. They're going to be channeling either the Palladians or the Arcturians or maybe, sometimes they do Archangel Michael or Metatron or whatever the case is. And, I'm not going to dispute that they're talking to. I'm not going to dispute or confirm or even say that I agree or think that's what they're doing. They're talking to this alien group called the ARCTURIANS. Although Edgar Casey is a man who I firmly believe in his channeling abilities, and he put himself into trance and accurately diagnosed people and was healing people when, technology wasn't even available to do said healings, on his own family members, his wife, his kid. But anyway, and he's mentioned them before as well. So that's the only reason why I won't completely shut it down or go along with it, because there's simply not enough evidence. There's only really good channelers and not so good channelers that channelers or spiritists or mediums that say they either do or don't, you know what I mean? And then, because some of them are good and some of them are not, it's very hard to come to a conclusion. But the sheer fact that, someone like Edgar Casey mentions them and, all the many things he's done and done well, and then, it becomes a following, people put power into it, believe in it, and then, the higher self, among other channels like Higher Self, can't think of any of the names, but like Be the Light or maybe not You Are Creators, but Universe Inside You. They all had a lot of similar messages about light workers and angels, earth angels, empaths, shit like that. So a lot of people hearing it, thinking it, believing in it, and put power into it. So yeah, one totally could become servitor, egregore, it's just a thought form, whatever, and, became something. Especially if people wrote in a book, gave it a home, gave it a place, gave it a way to continue to get energy, blah, 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 blah. So it's totally likely that they are channeling something, and even that this something could identify itself as Arcturians. Does that mean it's actually an alien race from outside of our galaxy or from inside our galaxy? I don't know. No way to tell you that. But that being said, this time more than any other time, but they've almost always been accurate. Almost every single month I go on the Higher Self channel and listen to the new moon, the astrology reports. And when I say astrology, I don't go like for Taurus or anything like that. I go for like what's going on in the stars and with the planets, who's opposing who, who's transiting who, to know where they are right now, kind of thing. And, I go for like the new month updates, energy updates, and what's going on. And, where's the moon going to be, what sign, first, and shit like that. So, but yeah, more than ever this time, it's been bang on. So, like I said previously, I think, and if I hadn't, well, I'll say it now, but I didn't mention the day of our second fight. This Saturday that just passed. Not the first fight of the Sunday that me and my wife had, but the Saturday after we made up, we started fighting whenever. About 8:30, we stopped around 2. But, sorry, losing my train of thought. right as soon as we were done, she came home. I was sucking back the coffee, cup after cup, and I couldn't keep my eyes open, like whatsoever. And that week, I was on days the entire week. So, I don't get optimum sleep, but I get more sleep than I do now. And, my eyes aren't even doing that at the moment. So, because, yesterday I slept probably about 5 hours, but the day before I hadn't slept at all. And the day before that, I probably slept 3 hours. So that's 8 hours in 3 days, and my eyes aren't closing. Whereas on Saturday, I couldn't keep them open if my life depended on it. It wasn't until about 12 o'clock after we went for a car ride, went outside, that I came back home and I felt energized and I couldn't sleep. And both those things were mentioned for something that can happen. And so and I'm not just saying that to give this validity, because I am not New Age. I was at one point maybe, but I don't think of New Age as a brand or spirituality per se. I believe it as, kind of like an umbrella term for pagan, as most witches can be pagans, but not every pagan is going to be a witch or a ceremonial magician. You can be just simply pagan. And, so you can simply just be New Age, but at the same time, New Age can serve a purpose, because it's the new way of expressing old ideas for people coming into this that haven't seen the old ideas, but can interpret it in their own ways. Most of the time they're surprisingly close to the old ideas. And so I like going by the stuff that's been trusted more, like the older books and grimoires, and, but it doesn't mean New Age doesn't have its purpose. Where it goes wrong is where it, probably 20 or 30 years now, maybe even more, whenever Wicca became a thing, a religion, which is awesome, but where they said, in every one of their spells, they had to put harm none into their spell. And then Birch goes and says, you can't, if you say harm none, it's not going to work. You're just basically asking for harm. And, that could be the whole intent too. Who knows? Maybe that's just a way to kind of laugh at them. These people think we can't harm them, and then we're going to intentionally put harm none into our spell, when really all we're doing, because the harm's the none, N-O-N-E, none, is not recognized. Therefore, we're basically saying, I will thee with harm, somewhat at me. But anyways, when stuff like that happens, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's not really cool. And then when people go even further, like I've read a lot of Raven Grimassi books, and I didn't even know he said this, to be honest, but Birch said that he heard him, I think, once saying, and it could be, maybe it was Silver Raven Wolf, I don't know, or God, can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, there was one of these people that, I think it was Raven Grimassi though, that said that you can't use magic to do malicious things or negative things, or however he worded it, basically saying you can't hex people, you can't curse people, you can't kill people, you can't scare people, whatever. And that's, that's complete BS. So, we can do that to ourselves. So obviously if we do it to ourselves, we can do it to others. But, sorry. But anyways, so where I was trying to go with that thought. It's funny how I get so off topic. But the New Age site, Higher Self, like I said, it's got a big umbrella of different things on there, and sometimes you'll see, you don't often see them together, but you'll see sometimes videos, and I have seen them back to back before, not like under your newest list or even your favorites, or sorry, not even your oldest, like in order of upload, but sometimes you hit the most popular ones, and every once in a while two opposite videos contradicting each other will be back to back, and I've watched it before, and it's kind of funny when that happens. But that being said, I kind of like that. It kind of shows that possibly the creators of the Higher Self YouTube channel are depolarized, and to the point where they'll let people with opposite opinions post their videos and keep both on there. It's, all opposites are the same, just different degrees or something to that effect. But so this time the energies were all accurate. I'll go through a few of them here, but I've experienced all of them in the last few weeks. Even before the first Sunday fight, I was experiencing some of these symptoms. I should be more prepared when I start this. Okay, so like I said, oh, one sec. All right. So, anyways, I'll take my list back up here, there, and I'll just start going through some of the things that were mentioned now in the previous video. The first one I think I played was they talked about resentment a little bit. And I talked about the resentment a little bit whenever I was, Jesus, I just lost the note I had. Fucking son of a bitch. Okay. New note. Sorry, guys. I always do this shit. Oh, man. All right. Well, I guess it's gone. Son of a bitch. I wrote down all the symptom things that they were going to say, so I didn't have to, okay, there we go. So I didn't have to write it down, because if I start writing, I won't stop. I love writing, and it's so helpful, but that's what happens to me. Anyways, so I already touched the drowsiness. The resentment I talked about after the second fight, because I even mentioned it to her that it's a lose-lose now if you go to Ottawa, basically, because of the fight we made up, and she didn't go. But yeah, I have been feeling this resentment, because it's something, whenever I get mad enough, I bring up and kind of throw in her face some of the things that happened in the past that she no longer does, so it's not fair to me to do. But I was sensing that. Like I said, there's no reason for me to sense that. So then I go and I put on this, and I hear her specifically say, you might be having, and the ARCTURIANS, I have quotations going up when I say that, but saying that there's going to be feelings of resentment. And it was like, wow, okay, well, that's kind of fucked up. So that's two. Drowsiness and resentment. Come on, go back, fuck. I'm using my old phone to record because the new one's doing something else and updating or some shit. But anyways, unwanted thoughts that you must let go, and this is certainly always happening to everybody, so it's kind of a vague one to say. I don't think at any point for any symptoms they should say unwanted thoughts, because all your thoughts are technically not, I guess it depends on who's saying it and what their degree of knowledge, and someone could be really very vastly smart in one area but not look into the other areas yet, or did enough research to satisfy them and didn't go any further. But when it comes to your thoughts, especially whenever we're figuring out that thought brings on is the beginning point of manifestation, or wherever those thoughts originated from would be the beginning point, and there's a pretty good degree of accuracy can prove that thoughts aren't derived from our head. Now, once we accept that first initial thought, then we can brainstorm on that idea depending on what's going on. But anyways, but they did say having thoughts that you're not gonna like and you're not gonna want, that aren't technically yours or whatever, that you have to they didn't say banish, deny, or reject, which would have been cool if they had, but unwanted thoughts that you must let go, basically. So they're telling you not to necessarily just avoid them, but release them, and I guess in a manner of speaking. And obviously that certainly happened. I said that in my last video, that any time I get as upset as I had the last 2 weekends, Saturday and Sunday, that the unlikelihoods of me dropping. Alright, so I already talked about the drowsiness. They said unwanted thoughts you have to let go, and we all don't pick our thoughts. We can expand on the thoughts after, but that's just kind of silly to say. But obviously that happened. That's happening to everybody, but that certainly happened. The fact that I couldn't even get over my anger, even though I know any thought I had when I was in that emotion, I was creating a thought form. The fact that I practice this on a daily basis, like I said last time, makes it that much more dangerous for me to do. But it's just something you can't control when you're stuck in that moment. Oh, this phone pisses me off. Anyway, sorry about all the dead air, guys, and the random way I'm speaking and stopping and distracted. I'll do my best to not be distracted anymore. when they mentioned the resentment, I thought that very curious because, I talked about a bit about that last time because I've been feeling it and I don't know why. So that was kind of crazy to hear them say. Releasing the feelings of emotion, judgment. Release the feelings and then those emotions and the judgment. They were talking about how there's going to be some feelings come to the surface, some feelings that you've had previously that you may have thought you dealt with or buried or whatever the case may be, and there's no reason for them to be popping up except for you to let them go. Basically, I've said before that when we start banishing, rejecting, and denying our thoughts and coordination with doing the ritual, the lesser banishing of the pentagram. So if you go in there to do that banishing ritual and you're doing it on a specific thought or programming, whatever the case is, and then as you're going through your day, anytime you get these negative thoughts, you start banishing them, you're going to remove them from your mind. They're basically saying to do this. These things are coming up because you need to have these gone before the next step of your ascension, is how, well, I guess New Age would put it, but it's not how I would typically put it, but it is what it is. And you can call it by whatever name. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going through it, but everybody's doing it differently. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. There are better ways, or there's probably more productive ways, quicker ways, if that's what someone's going for. But anyways, I'll keep going. Oh man, this phone is so touchy. The desire urgently to do something, move forward, but not sure what to read, watch, or talk about. And this is the main one that drove me nuts on the Saturday at least. But even on the Sunday, the first fight we had, and then again on the Saturday. And it's constantly what is my most polarizing idea, my most polarizing topic or issue, I guess, is the time the time I have on my weekend or after work or whatever the case is a little bit of time I have myself. So whenever I have to spend that doing something that I either don't think is good or right, or something I should be doing, or something that's pointless, whatever the case may be, unless it's been planned for a while, it's just one of my pet peeves, something I don't like doing, I'm not gonna fuck with that or try to get out of that. But if it's, moving my mother-in-law and she's fighting with her boyfriend that they're moving in together and he's drinking a crazy amount of alcohol because of the fact that he's can't deal with that, he's moving in with her, and few other issues, but treat her like an ass, or treat her like a bitch. Anyways, he wasn't treating her very nice, and so my wife wanted to go up there instead of spending the time with me before we don't see each other much. Really ticked me off. And then the previous weekend, the issue was not being able to do my podcast, and it wasn't even technically all about what happened with my wife. It was more about the fact that I didn't know what to watch to get inspired. I was having trouble getting ideas. I'd have these little small ideas and I could expand upon, but not enough for the whole show. That's why I never made that one episode with all that, with the few recorded things I had with about Alan Watts and the Christian church and this and that. Because I couldn't have a complete thought, and even the ones I was having weren't well, and I just figured because I was in balance or off balance, off center, not grounded due to the fight, even after we made up from the fight, it's still a lot of negativity or, bad energy inside of me that had to be, transmuted. So, but
power off.
Sorry. But this was the main one that got me for the first fight on that Sunday, when my ego kicked in the most, because I was having trouble recording even before we got into the fight, truth be told. And then whenever she had to go to the gym, when I was about ready to go and had at least 3 recordings already done and was just going to come on live and do the rest, gave me an excuse not to do any because I didn't really want to do any because I wasn't in the right state of mind. But at the same sense, it made me mad because that's the one thing I like doing on my spare time. And this is my spare time because I only get the one Saturday off and I had to go to work this Sunday. I just passed for the night shift. So it's kind of a shitty feeling. But yeah, so whenever it comes to the polarity, I know I said I have pretty polarized when it comes to my wife and us getting into fights and all that because, you know, we automatically go against each other. We already have the gender thing working against us, but really it was the fact that I wasn't able to record anything because of, you know, not really being inspired, not knowing what to watch, you know, not being able to read. My focus wasn't there and all that. So then when I listened to this New Age stuff, speaking about how, you know, it's the Arcturian Council once again telling us that, you know, this is normal, this is what's supposed to be happening, you're not supposed to do anything during this time. If you were to try to, you know, do something such as teach, whenever you're not inspired yourself, it wouldn't come out good. Your body needs the break. Doing nothing at this time is the most beneficial thing you can do. Well, that made me feel a whole lot better, but it would have been nice to fucking know that before I fucking freak out on my wife and, you know, end up losing that day that I cared so much about. You know, makes a whole lot of sense. I don't want to lose a day with her, so I fight with her. And that's how the fucking shit works, though. I'm pretty, anyways. But, so like I said, so far, like every one of these fucking things, last 2 weeks have been happening for me, late November, early December. And I'm not going to be one of those people that say, because this is the December energies and shit. And, you know, a lot of people that say these things, they often, not so much anymore, thank God, but they often come out and be like, yeah, the reason, you know, they want to justify saying how they know what the energies are going to be for December. And the reason they know is because there's a person that gets the energies a couple weeks before everybody else, which is a real thing, can happen. People are late. People get done on time. It depends on your birth chart, your birthday, and where the planets are currently and where they are on your chart. And that's the thing, like someone who gets it early, you know, let's say 7 or 8 months out of this 1 year, almost a whole year, well, they're not going to get it early every single month out of that year. It's all going to depend on the transits and the planets that they have in their chart. And the next year they might be late, and the next year might be on time. And some people might not experience this shit at all. Like, it could be that sparse. You know, someone who has a specific planet, a specific house is going to have certain attributes. Well, likewise, when you have those same planets and charts, and then the transits in the sky, you know, something's opposing it, or something's in a mutual reception or a trine, well, then that person is going to have different energies than these ones being said. So I'm not saying this is a perfect science, but for the most part, like I said, almost every month I do this, and almost every month they're pretty bang on, and this one's been, you know, the most accurate probably thus far, and it's the last one of the year. Which is kind of cool, but I'll probably get into that a little bit later. But anyways, so they also said different food and behaviors that promote healing for rebuilding, getting rest, and acceptance and love, and not fight the feelings that you were getting, the ones that you didn't want to deal with, basically. And this is referring to others and situations around you. So, you know, let's say I thought that she started the fights, which I know that's not true. You know, actively getting involved in a drama and starting a fight would be the last thing that this is trying to promote. It's trying to promote the final purge of this shit for you, so you don't have to deal with it in the new year, because there's going to be way more important things to focus on, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I'll play a Ralph Smart fucking video there first, though, just so you don't think it's just me that's been saying this shit. But anyways, the point of that one was still real for me as well, because, you know, not just the day that I kept falling asleep, that day didn't matter, but generally for me, when I eat any kind of sugar, I fall asleep. And so that's something I've been actively doing on the days I know I have to fucking try to get some sleep. Yo! Not right now. Give me 10 minutes, okay? Sorry about that. My little daughter wants some peanut butter. I have to hide this stuff so it doesn't go missing. But anyway, so being an observer and, you know, letting other people deal with their own dramas, and hopefully maybe by the polarity of their drama they actually learn something instead of you jumping in and either taking their side or promoting it, or, you know, making it worse or adding to it or preaching. Just be the observer and observe, and, you know, emotionally heal or transmute what you can, but basically stay quiet, do your own thing, sleep, whatever you need to do. Oh man, I got a lot of fucking dead air going on here. It's because I got to keep reopening the fucking page where I got the little things written down. Don't take on others' drama and just observe. Doing nothing is better than doing something when you're not inspired. I already went over that. And sleep. One of the other points they brought up was, you know, when we sleep, we don't really do anything. We're just laying there, right, doing absolutely nothing. And your body's healing itself. Your cells are regenerating, dying, rebuilding, fixing anything. Your digestive system's going on. You know what I mean? If you're still growing, or like, you know, if you're in your teens or whatever, you know, your body's going to keep growing. Your body's producing, you know, testosterone and all your hormones. And, you know, it's doing all the shit that you don't have to think about, you know, and you couldn't even think about if you wanted to right now. And you're breathing all, you know, it's all subconscious mind at this point, you know. So I liked how they did that, because for a little bit there, it was kind of just sounding like they want us to do absolutely nothing and not, you know, try to do anything and just be lazy. And it was kind of like, okay, well, all right, as much as I'm experiencing this, and they're accurate, but it's like, it's not like, I didn't like the fucking response. I didn't like the answer they were giving me. I didn't like what they were putting out. So I was kind of like, well, this is kind of fucked. So I guess, oh, sorry, fucking shit, man. Unbelievable. Why doesn't this shit work? All right, so, but then when they gave that analogy and that comparison, it was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, no, I kind of get what they're hitting at right now. And, you know, it was just basically to say that if you're not inspired, you're not feeling it right now, because there's so many energies coming down on you, and it's making it hard for you to do anything, focus or whatever. The best thing you can do is just do nothing, because the more pressure you put on yourself to try to do something that you can't fucking do, like, you know, like, and that was what my problem was. I was trying so goddamn hard to fucking try to record something, try to get my mind going, try to get something out there, just to have something out there, you know what I mean? It would end up being garbage. It would do more harm than good, you know, and then be fucking mad at myself for even doing it, you know what I mean? And, you know, but that ended up happening anyways, because I couldn't do it. I found another way to let out my anger, and then unfortunately my wife got the blunt end of that shit. But anyways, so that was some of the points. There was a lot more on there, such as oh fuck, I just had it on the tip of my tongue too. Now I can't remember it. I'm very tired, so I know it's no excuse, but you know, well, it's my fucking excuse. So but oh shit, she said it, and I had it right there, and now it's gone, and it'll come back to me, I guess, by the end. But they kept bringing up ideas such as, oh, I really can't come back to me. All right, well, I just have to move on. So, I like bringing this up just because I like I said, there are people out there that can actually channel and do things, and, you know, get this information. Now, like I said before, whether this information came from a group of aliens called the ARCTURIANS, or if this information came from a group of, or not even a group, part of her subconscious mind that's just, you know, like she picked a deity, and her deity was some council of Arcturians, and that's the way the information's coming through that energy that everybody put their collective focus on and into, and it's coming through her mind to tell her all this information, but it's basically coming from the collective unconscious, from all those people that put their power into that group, and anybody else who's ever heard of Arcturians. So basically they're connected to the collective unconscious, so they're channeling energy. So like I said, whenever it comes to this stuff, if you are polarized because you don't believe in aliens and stuff like that, well, you don't really have to, but take the message and see if it has any validity maybe before you throw it out. Because yeah, there are some things that you're going to hear that's like, okay, well, I was willing to, maybe think that it's possible, in this person's world that there's a group called the ARCTURIANS, but this shit's just fucking retarded. And, there's going to be lots of cases like that. So, but it's a good test of your polarity and your ability to decipher and, figure out what's real and what's not real. There's that. I thought about the thing. Oh, yeah, okay. I forget if it was. I know the Ralph Smart thing I'm going to play is going to say the same thing, but I believe that it was mentioned in the one that it was the Arcturians actually talking and not the woman talking for them, which is the same thing. It's just a computer voice, but talking about more people. There's more people being silent. There's more people adding to the collective. There's more people going out there and speaking their truth, more people doing this and that, which is certainly obviously the case, and it's something I've been actively trying to do and keep doing and try to deliver a good message and something useful every single time. I have a feeling I'm going to have to start repeating certain things and expanding on them a little bit more before I get into anything more in depth, just because of the blocks and different things that are in my way at the moment. But I thought that was fascinating, and I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday that I had a conversation with my friend Justin once again, and we talked about many things. When we get together, we can talk about fucking a lot of different concepts, and Arcturians came up, aliens came up, being the Mandela effect came up and shit like that. And he asked me what I thought about it, because he's like a lot of those things that they talk about with the monocle not being on fucking the Monopoly dude, and Luke, I am your father, or no, I am your father, or however it's worded. It's kind of crazy, that shit. And I said, yeah. And I'm like, honestly, when I first looked into it, I totally thought 100% it was. And now I can't tell you whether it is or isn't. It's probably a combination of a few things. But with this age of Pisces being done in the age of Aquarius now, because he was punting the notion of the 2012 was the end of our world or reality or whatever, and then we thus started a new reality. We didn't have a bad reality, we started a good reality where the light forces won, dark died, and the people that were there remained. We jumped or shifted a different timeline where those were. This is what he thought, and this is what I thought too at one point as well, very similar anyways. That we shift a reality where, in the Star Wars movie, he didn't say, Luke, I am your father. He said, no, I'm your father. And, all those different things that, prove the Mandela effect. All those different things that were explained from that, something that you can't really prove or explain. And I said, to me though, my theory is not any better because you can't prove it or explain it either. Much better. So, but I said, to me, it's probably a combination of something like that, because I can't disprove that, and there's a lot of good facts supporting that. And so for me to say that it's unlikely without really any way to tell you why I think it's unlikely, it would just be stupid. So I did believe in that at one point, but now I think it has more to do with the fact that more people know that our mind creates a reality. Therefore, with more people knowing that and more people doing it, I explained to him those experiments that Greg Braden talked about with the square root of the 1% of the population for 1 million people is what was it, 10,000 or 1,000 people to change the direction that, a population of 1 million people, let's say they're headed for war, well, that 1,000 or 10,000 people would be able to change the direction if they held in their mind as if it already happened the outcome they chose with gratitude and love feelings and all that. So I said, knowing that, because to me the 2012 thing was the age of Pisces was done, and age of Aquarius was starting, and you can also say that for right now. Well, from 2012 to 2020 is basically to me the transition period where we're dropping off the rest of the Pisces, Jesus, religion, structure, strict crap and all this stuff, and a lot of rebellion, and that the people that like that way, not happy about the changes going on, and the people who are for the changes doing everything they can to rub it in their faces or fight them or whatever the case is. But we're in this transition period right now, is how I feel about it. So technically, yes, the Pisces age is done and Aquarius has started, but it's not full-fledged yet because there's still people trying to remain in that Pisces age energy, basically. And if there's enough people thinking they're still in that energy and using that energy, even though that energy is not here anymore or we're not in that age anymore, well, there's still going to be remnants of it. There's still going to be that energy here because those people are holding that true in their mind and telling themselves that no, nothing's changed. This is what it is. I mean, the Christians that believe in Jesus are not even going to use the word Pisces or Aquarius. But what I mean is they're going to refuse to believe anything with law of attraction, religion, spirituality, subconscious mind, meditation. They're not going to believe any of this crap. They're just going to keep doing the old fucking fashioned ways. But there's so many people that are getting on board with this new way. And what makes it powerful for the people getting on board with using your mind to your benefit is the Christians, the way they pray, won't be able to change anything. They'd have to get all the priests from every denomination to get on the same side, and I'm including like Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and your Roman Catholics, and then your hardcore fucking Orthodox, Christians, and I mean, even getting the Jews and the Judaism and Islam in on that action too, because the amount of people attempting to use their mind to their benefit, and what are the odds that there's not 10,000 people trying to manifest extra money coming in? You know what I mean? And if there's that many people doing it, all their minds together trying to do the same thing, it's going to happen. If those people happen to be within the same population, watch out. It's going to happen fucking fast. So the point I'm trying to say is there's no threat for the Christian people versus the magical practitioners, because we have the more productive formula. Now, I'm not saying the Christian formula doesn't work. It certainly can if you implement it right. If you're to pray to God, thanking Him for what you received, or at the very least, you could say the same prayer every night, and you could say, please, heal this person, and then have absolute faith in that. And if you were to say that every night as almost an affirmation, all right, then there's a good chance that it might happen if you have the absolute faith. But I still think you have to have the love feeling mixed with it, the visualization of it already happening. And I believe that would eventually happen, as long as they didn't start thinking about them being sick. But that's why I said a long time ago in one of those videos that I put on Instagram, I think first, and YouTube and everywhere else, but we have the advantage. And the reason I say we have the advantage is because we're doing it the right way. The more productive way. Like I said earlier, there's certainly more productive ways, but there's not just one way to do anything. And this boils down to the same thing. So as they're hanging on to that Pisces energy, they're not going to be able to hang on to it much longer because, unfortunately, the circle of life, most elderly people, I could say this with almost certainty, I'm sure not all, but almost certain that the majority of the elderly people would be some kind of older religion, such as Judaism, or if they're from India or thereabouts, or they could be Buddhist or whatever. Doesn't matter, but the older people are going to be more organized religion, and unfortunately, they are going to pass on. The majority of the elderly people would be some kind of older religion, such as Judaism, or if they're from India or thereabouts, or they could be Buddhist or whatever. Doesn't matter, but the older people are going to be more organized religion, and unfortunately, they are going to pass on. And then people from anywhere from, there was a 50-year-old that called my wife's work the other day, and he was well versed in the stuff about your birth certificate, and you're not a person, you're a human being, and stuff like that, the whole promissory note and using your birth certificate for whatever, blah, 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 blah. And this was a man in his, because he was calling my wife, so he was retired, so he was in his early 60s, I think she said. He was retiring a little bit earlier. So anybody from the age 60 is probably a stretch, but I would say, late 40s, early 50s, but I got Greg Braden and all his buddies that are getting up there in age. So, it's likely from 60 to fucking, late, early 20s, maybe even, 18, 19. And then we are the ones that have the kids right now. And if we're playing our stuff night and day and doing our stuff, and their subconscious mind is seeing and hearing this stuff, well, now we're programming our youth to do it. And their mind is, especially if they're younger, more programmable and more powerful, so we have the numbers and we have the better and more productive and faster way. So it's an inevitable change that's going to happen no matter what. And this is why I said not too long ago that this is what the event is. Now, there are many events. The thing I'm going to play with Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters, he talks about an event coming, like a disaster event, like a 9/11 event possibly happening. And that certainly could be classified as an event. But what I mean is, the big thing that's happening right now in our lifetime is the fact that we are changing from organized religion where, we are not really that significant, but we have a God that loves us. And if we ask for forgiveness when we die, if whether we had a good life or a shitty life, as long as we do everything right while we're here, we get to go to heaven. And there's your insurance policy. And we're moving out of that because people are realizing that, whether it's true or not, no one could fucking know. And I'm not here to tell you if it's true or not, but we're moving into something that's more tested and true, because people are manifesting shit every single day, from removing tumors to fucking making money appear, to fucking, making orange balls appear, to making you finding someone to marry, or finding a girlfriend, or getting the job you want. It's happening all over the place, and with great speed and accuracy. And every time it happens, there's another person coming out teaching how they did it. And then that person affects, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 people. And then those people out of that fucking 1,000 fucking learn how to do it, and they affect more people. So the people hanging on to the organized religion way of trying to fucking pray and never getting their fucking prayers answered, versus the people that are doing the fucking put something in your subconscious mind while you're meditating or almost asleep every night, because you hit that fucking theta state every single night before bed. So you put something on that plays whatever the fuck you want to happen, and it hits that point. Well, then you just accomplished putting something in your subconscious mind. Now you just gotta try not to think about it, so it pops up. But we definitely have the advantage, and we definitely have the numbers proving that our side is winning. So back to the topic of the Mandela effect. So I went over all this with him, saying that what we manifest happens, and what happens if everybody manifests something small, but like the line in the Star Wars movie, you know what I mean? More people think it says, "No, I'm your father," versus "Luke, I am your father," which is what I thought it was. But I checked the movie I got here, and it says, "No, I am your father." And it's like, that doesn't make fucking sense. I've been saying that since I was a kid, and it was never that. Or I don't know if that's the exact words there, but you know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, so I think it's more has something to do with the fact that everybody who was manifesting the reality prior to right now, prior to everybody figuring out the fucking secret law of attraction, whatever the fuck you want to call this, magic, fucking witchcraft, spirituality, fucking whatever, implanting something in your subconscious mind, hypnosis, trance, astrology, it doesn't matter. You want to call it demon worshipping or the devil, it doesn't fucking matter. But now that we're all doing it, or the majority of the people are doing it, this is why this is happening, because now we're getting conflicted fucking people's ideas in the way we're going from being brainwashed and not being able to focus and, having small attention spans, to people no longer watching TV and not giving two shits about fucking watching TV, and trying to eat right and do everything right by their body, and, taking care of themselves. And, so whose mind you think is going to be more powerful? The bunch of people that don't know how to fucking pray, right? Who've never gotten a dime from God or healing from God, or the people that fucking know the right way to do it and that are getting their fucking instant fucking results. well, those minds are going to be the more powerful ones. And if they don't have shit in them about fucking movies that don't matter, lines of movies, or whether the Monopoly guy wore the monocle or not, or whatever the case is, then yeah, you're going to have some messed up shit going on. You're going to have some weird stuff happening where people think this is what it said. No, this is what it said, and there's a lot of scientific explanations for that. One's as simple as, when you're looking for your keys, you look everywhere where you think you would left your keys. So on the way to all those places, you're not even necessarily looking. You could have walked by them 4 times, but because they're not somewhere where you think they would be, then you're not going to notice them. It will take you until you're not even thinking about it, and then you look in that spot for something else, or just by chance, and then you find your keys. And this is kind of how magic works, and this is a way of explaining the Mandela effect. You hear a movie, someone says it, you say that line over and over again, and it becomes that in your head. And and anybody says otherwise, you're going to say, no, it's this, and people just go with it. People don't back check or check sources anymore. And then all of a sudden, when you actually go and look somewhere other than the place that you just assumed where it would be, you find out, holy fuck, you were wrong, because you back checked all the places you went and where you would leave your keys, and they weren't anywhere there. And then you started blaming people, saying, well, it's got to be this, it's got to be that, it's got to be this person, it's got to be that person. And it turns out you just fucking dropped them, or pulling out of your pocket, they fell out, whatever the case is. So that's like a simple correspondence to how it could work. The Mandela effect, how it would play out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again. I got kind of a cold and my eyes are getting sleepy, actually, now that I talked about that. And I'm mumbling, and I know it's going to be fucking so low, but hopefully I can turn up the fucking volume after. But anyway, so we had a nice conversation about the Mandela effect, and then we actually talked about Sirius a little bit, and I told him how, if the information I searched is right, Sirius is actually going up and down, whereas we're rotating around the sun kind of like horizontal, if you were to look at it like that, and then Sirius would be like a cross, the up and down part, or like the north, south, and then the east and the west. But yeah, the Mandela effect, our talk was a pretty good talk, and then we ended up getting on the topic of, because I've always told him, because he really believes in aliens and disclosure coming and this and that. And I always think of aliens as, like Palladians, like possibly archangels or angels of some kind. It's all the same. Gods, angels, aliens, superheroes, it's all the same fucking shit. It's something that we can explain, that we try to explain in some way. So we give it something that has supernatural power, and, that's the best we can do. But he actually brought up the fact that, these beings, even though they might be multidimensional and they live in places where there's no time, if he's like, what they say is true about the fact that there's no free will wherever they are, then we are technically more powerful because we have the choice whether to do or not to do, whereas they just are, and that's why we can call on them anyway, anytime, any place. And I said, you're absolutely right, and that's kind of why I always say I think they're kind of the same. The Watchers, the aliens, the fallen angels, they're all basically the gods, deities, whatever. They're all basically the same, because everybody could be doing the fucking lesser banishing of the pentagram in the world, and those archangels are going to be there for every single person in the world, because they are not bound by time. They are not bound by the same rules as we are. They have their own set of rules, and we can command them. Now, that being said, just like fucking with demonic evocation, if you don't show respect or do things properly, then, you can get your ass kicked by the angels or by the demons. And, the angels are going to teach you a lesson, whereas the demons can flip your life apart. But once again, it's going to teach you a lesson. Greater good shit, coming back full circle again. But yeah, so we had a pretty good conversation about that as well. And yeah, he seemed to really enjoy what I was saying. And then I basically just ended up saying the same thing I think I said in my last episode, that, because he was talking about he really wants to get studying really hard and get his powers fucking, like tenfold compared to what they are now, because he's really good at meditation, but he just doesn't really grasp how to put something in his mind. And he's been watching, he's like, it wasn't Grant Morrison, but it was another comic writer that said he did the same thing as Grant Morrison, wrote down what the fuck he wanted, but he was doing it as a comic, but it was as if it was his life, and everything he made ended up happening as well. And he's like, it was crazy. So he's like, he wants to work on that. And so I told him the same broad, vague statement is, well, you practice. You take the concept of sigil magic and you do it all the different ways you can look up. And when one of those ways will work, you mark it down, and then now you know how to do that. And then you put that sigil on a fucking candle, and then you can even just write a fucking spell on there. Maybe make it rhyme, put it in, translate into an old language. Visualize what's happening in the candle flame, and then, you activate that sigil all the other ways, and you let that bitch burn all the way down. And not only that, you do a fucking ritual while you lit that candle, and you're focusing your energy into that candle flame, because it's not here nor there. It's kind of the same rules, we have to start it, we have to finish it, but it can cause havoc on its own if left unattended or disrespected. But in the same sense, it's a gateway to, getting what you want or wrecking your life. And all the elements are like that, except for Earth might be a little bit different because it's in this realm. But that's what I told him was, well, so all you have to do is practice all the different ways to do it. Start with one, and then keep working your way up. And then, once that happens and you start banging these out, then it becomes the question of, okay, well, I know I can get whatever I want now. It's just a matter of waiting. And the more important, the harder it is to forget is, the longer it takes to come. But then the question becomes, how? What do I want to cast for? What do I want my life to be? What do I want from life? And then this way you find your passion, and you're doing that just to do it. And then you don't necessarily have to even do magic all that much, except for whenever you have issues and you want to fix them, or for the self-transformation purposes and shit like that. But yeah, so, and then he's like, no, he's like, that's good. And, I told him, you don't have to listen to my stuff, and then just listen to Frater and fucking Birch, and then you combine the two, and then you'll be good to go. And, that was a pretty good talk there we had. But, once again, it really comes down to what's going to happen in 2020 versus, what's already happened. I mean, I don't want to make a big deal and make people think that something fucking like 9/11 is going to happen in 2020, because those things can happen at any time. In fact, those things are probably happening right now, and we're just not hearing about it because our media doesn't play any good or important or anything meaningful on the fucking news. They only play the fucking bullshit garbage that, no one gives two flying fucks about. But, all these events could be happening all the time. And, I believe in Ralph Smart being, intuitive. And I've known him, I've listened to him now for a while, since I've started into this stuff. And basically what I'm trying to say is, he's made predictions before, and they almost always come true now. He's made big predictions that are vague, and, because that could be anything from, a crash in the stock market to a plane crashing with 1,000 people to, something like a terrorist attack. So I'm not trying to discredit him or anything like that. He's a great guy. I really like and enjoy watching him. I even thought about posting for his model search thing there. I'm not a model though, but anyways, but he talks about the 2020 being perfect vision, perfect sight. We had a show called 2020 a long time ago with Barbara Walters, I want to say was her name, and how it's connected to our spiritual vision and more people being able to see. And this comes right back to the Aquarius thing, the water bearer. He's pouring out the water because the age of the fish is gone. We're getting rid of that water. But not only that, it's a nice metaphor for how when you add thought, Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius, you can hear air right in that statement. When you add that to the water they're pouring out, you get your manifestation, and that's what's happening. That's what the event is. That's why we're having so much success, and everybody is going to be getting this, and that's why you can probably come to your own conclusion that there may be some kind of big event happening, because if everybody starts manipulating and changing their own reality to have what they want, then, whatever jobs they're leaving or, things they're no longer doing, if it starts affecting too many high-ranking people where we don't need certain jobs, certain people, well, people will start getting pissed off. And, the fear of that alone happening can make them do something rash to put people back in their place. So I don't like even talking about this or trying to even make this come into existence, but I feel I needed to maybe just put a disclosure or a small little disclaimer on there. But anyways, I'm gonna play the thing from fucking Jesus, Ralph right now, and then I'll come on after that and talk about a few things that he talked about. So yeah, so I'll be back on in let's say 20 minutes. I think is the length of this clip.
"2020, deep divers. Are you excited about 2020? Can you feel that something major is going to happen in 2020? Something big is going to happen in 2020? I can feel it, deep divers. So can the cat down the road. He's already got his popcorn ready, because we both know it is all about to go down. Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Beautiful deep divers, we are out here in nature, baby. We got the lovebirds up there. It is a beautiful day, deep divers. Just finished sun gazing. We're just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. World predictions for 2020. Deep divers, I'm sending you tons of good ass energy right now. Take that, take that, take that. World predictions for 2020. Deep divers, let's talk about it. 10 things that are going to happen in 2020. Now, a lot of people are excited about 2020. I am. Why? Because this is the year of the full disclosure. The hidden is coming to light. No more secrets. We ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? Hey. So wonderful, deep divers. I've been getting messages about 2020. Ralph, what do you think is going to happen in 2020? And let me tell you this. I'm a Pisces, deep divers, born on March 3rd. So I'm naturally intuitive. And I've been having dreams about what is going to go down in 2020. And my, oh my, a lot is going to happen in 2020. Look, the first thing that is going to happen in 2020 is that people are going to get their vision back. People are going to get their vision back. 2020 is perfect vision. What? Slow motion this side. Oh, baby. People are gonna see for the first time. They're gonna see things they didn't see before in this matrix. They're gonna be able to see beyond the physical into the non-physical. A lot of people are gonna wake up to something they were unaware of before. I've been in this awakening community, deep divers, for a long time. But even I know, in 2020, I'm going to get a greater vision. You're pulling the blinds back. Now you can see. So many of us right now aren't seeing properly. So many distractions in this matrix. But in 2020, I guarantee you, more and more people are going to start to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. They're going to get their vision back. They're going to see clearly. They're going to see the BS in the news, the television, and they're going to get their vision back. What happens, deep divers, when you have perfect vision? It means you are now more intuitive. It means now you know where you have to be and where not to go. So people are going to be taking trips. You see, if I look at something, if I look at this camera right now, that's one perspective. But if I go around the camera, that's another perspective. So a greater vision means that people are going to be seeing things from different perspectives, angles, bird's eye view. They're going to see how this whole thing is working, how this whole matrix is working. They're going to be able to put the dots together, connect the dots and say, okay, this happened because of this. You're going to start to see more people connecting the dots to see that, hey, so many of us have been screwed over for so long, and now it's time to take our power back. Can I get...
The results strongly support that these beings are not closely related to...
So, we were talking about when you purposely try to impress upon...
Get a hello there. What is the second thing, deep divers, that's going to go down in 2020, according to Ralph Smart's dreams, right? Red pill, blue pill. Okay, this is a matrix, deep divers. But in this matrix, there are many Morpheuses, okay? And Morpheus in the matrix told Neo, you take the red pill, or you can take the blue pill. You take the red pill, I will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes, and you stay in Wonderland. Or you take the blue pill, and you wake up, and you believe whatever you want to believe, and you carry on in your ignorance. A lot of people are gonna have to make this choice, red pill or blue pill. And a lot of people, their families are gonna be split up because there's gonna be a breakaway. Meaning that people aren't going to tolerate lower frequencies anymore. And I see this in 2020. It is going to be a massive split. Because not everybody is going to make it into a higher frequency. Not everybody is going to want to do that. A lot of people are going to be like Cypher in the Matrix. They're going to want to plug themselves back into this video game, this illusion. But some people are going to be like, wait a minute, let me wake up to my greatness. Let me see how far the rabbit hole goes, how deep it goes. Let me question everything. Are those clouds real? Are those trees real? Okay, what's really going on? Do they control the weather with HAARP? What's really going on? That's the red pill. Now you're starting to question. Why is the world like this? Did they really go to the moon? That's the red pill. And a lot of people are going to connect with other people who see the world like they do. Deep divers, it is all going down in 2020. I'm taking the red pill. I took the red pill like 5 years ago, and I'm still taking the red pill in 2020 to go even further down the rabbit hole and really see what's going on. Like, I know there is so much going on this planet. And that's why I'm going to be traveling all around the world, deep divers, taking trips, okay? Reconnecting with Mother Nature, like always, okay? Deep divers, what's the third thing that's going to happen in 2020? I had a dream, deep divers, that there was going to be a rise in conscious stars. Now, what do I mean by conscious stars? I mean by you are going to see more conscious minds on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all of these apps. You are going to see more people with conscious minds who are influencing a whole lot of people. Now, on YouTube, there are already a lot of people who are coming out of the woodwork and really making videos which are questioning everything in this matrix, and that's fantastic. But in 2020, it is going to be taken up a whole nother notch because more people are going to start finding their voice. Already you had Osiris, okay, coming out talking about the music industry, how it's screwing him over, okay? You are going to have more musicians talk about the industry, break their silence, a full disclosure of what's really going on in these industries, and they're going to expose it for what it is. And more people aren't going to be scared to talk their truth. You see, I've been talking about the third eye, fifth dimension back in the day. And people are like, gosh, Ralph, how can you talk about this stuff? I don't want to be called crazy, but I think this stuff. You see, deep divers, I talk about what people are thinking, but are afraid to say. What? Slow motion this side. But in 2020, more people are going to have the confidence to speak their heart and mind without fear. A lot of people are going to start talking their raw truth in 2020. Now, deep divers, what's the fourth thing that's going to happen in 2020? I've already seen it. The rise in machine, the rise in AI, artificial intelligence. We are moving closer to singularity. That is where artificial intelligence supersedes human intellect.
What's up, guys? John Whiting here. I wanted to share something with you that I think is going to really, really help you out. Our business has been able to...
Now, 2020 is where the Archons, they are going to take it to the next level of artificial intelligence. You're going to have more smart technology. You're going to see the introduction of a very, very smart car, okay? Already they have cars that can drive themselves. You're going to see that taken up another notch, okay? You are going to see that people are going to be wearing more technology, okay? They already wear the smartwatch, but people are literally going to be wearing their mobile phone on them. And when they go to sleep, it's going to be on them. That's all coming in 2020 because they want you to become a machine. However, you see, if you are diving deep, you know there's no place like home. Where is home? Mother Nature. You heal yourself in nature. And what they want is for you to become a machine. When you are a machine, you lose your soul and the machine takes it. And that's why a lot of people are confused right now, depressed, full of anxiety, because they are selling their souls to the machine, to the AI. So for me in 2020, I'm going in vigilant. Okay, I'm like, hey, my eyes got to be wide open. I got to take a fast of this technology. I got to take a break of this technology. I don't want to become a robot. But in 2020, you are going to see more clones. Are they even people? Who knows? You are going to see more automatons. You are going to see more people who aren't even people. They are cyborgs. Because this is the age and this is the year where people are becoming technology. That's not going to be me. I'm going to be chilling with a cat down the road in nature, baby. Oh, baby. Deep divers, what's the fifth thing that's going to happen in 2020? More people are going plant-based. It's inevitable. Already, so many people I'm connecting with are stuffing mangoes in their mouth, oranges, peaches, pears, drinking green juice. People are upgrading their health, and they are becoming more mindful of what they are eating. And already, deep divers, just walk around. You are seeing vegan, vegan, vegan on the menu everywhere. Go out of business. And it's going to be a whole food revolution. A lot of young children are going to refuse to eat a lot of that processed crap they serve in their schools. And you are going to see more plant-based foods in the supermarket on a whole nother level. But at the same time, they are also going to try and recreate meat. That's not meat, but it tastes like meat. And I always say, I don't eat mock meats, deep divers. I don't eat seitan, I don't eat tempeh, I don't eat none of that stuff. Corn, none of that stuff. But it's a good transitional food. But for me, all I know is that I'm only eating what nature created in 2020. So they will try and trick you with something that looks and tastes just like chicken, but it's not chicken. And a lot of people are going to fall for it. So you got to be careful of that trap, deep divers. What's the sixth thing, deep divers, that's going to happen? Oh, baby. In 2020, what did I have a dream about? It was this, deep divers. In 2020, school's out for summer. There is going to be a lot of students protesting.
Goal setting as we know it in the modern Western world is broken. See all those goals swirling around your head, the financial goals, the career goals, the lifestyle goals. Well, what have I told you? Most of those goals don't actually come from inside you. They come from outside you. They come from the media, your friends, your family, politicians, your role models, advertising, computer algorithms on social media. So the goals you think.
A lot of people are going to try and remove student loans. A lot of students are going to rebel. Okay, there's going to be a huge rebellion from the youth. Educational institutions are going to break down because they aren't sustainable and they aren't built on the truth. In the Matrix, they program you from a young age to believe in lies in school. Even in his story, that's why it's his story, it's not yours. What? Slow motion this side. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, wait a minute, I get it. I'm not going to spend all of this money on education and be fed a whole load of lies. So there is going to be like a whole new curriculum, even in schools. And a lot of people are actually going to take their children out of mainstream schools. And that's going to be a big new story. Because in 2020, the full disclosure is going to happen, deep divers. What is a seventh thing, deep divers, that is going to happen in 2020? I've already seen this, deep divers. Conscious communities. That's right. There are going to be more conscious communities meeting in person, face to face. No, deep divers, they aren't going to be on their smartphone. This smartphone ain't that smart. Did you know, deep divers, that it spies on you? Break it. There are going to be more retreats, more people getting together face to face in person, talking to each other. Greater connections will be made in 2020 than ever before. The people that you're seeing on YouTube, you're actually going to meet them in real life. How about that, deep divers? You're going to meet the cat down the road, okay? Because of this huge wave, I call it the new hippie movement. That's what's going to happen in 2020. You remember the 60s, the 70s, when you had all of those hippies, right? Dancing around, that's coming back in 2020. More people are going to be free, so free. Wild, so wild, doing what they want, not living according to society's expectations. This all happens in 2020. people are going to start to lose fear. Even though they will try and program you with so much fear, they will try to break up these communities. Beware of that in 2020. What happened to OSHA? Okay, it was an inside job. Well, in 2020, they are going to see that, wait a minute, a lot of people are going to start banding together on the love frequency, and they are going to try and distract you. They're going to try and disrupt that activity, but they aren't going to succeed. So, shout out to everybody who is coming to my retreat. I'm going to come to yours as well, Deep Divers, because there are going to be so many nature retreats in 2020, and it is about time. Deep Divers, what's the 8th thing that's going to happen in 2020? I've already seen it, Deep Divers. You are going to have a new app, because as more people go into technology, Instagram won't be as used as it is right now. YouTube will be even stronger, but there will be another kind of app like Instagram, but it will be more conscious. Mark my words. You are going to have another app that's going to be just as big as Instagram was when it kind of first came out. And that's going to actually change the way people interact. But it's not going to be based on popularity. That's why Instagram are removing the likes, because they know that this is toxic to so many people. And people are actually not using the app.
I will never forget the day when you quit your job.
They had to remove the likes because they're losing people, because people feel depressed when they go on Instagram. So you are going to have a whole new app, which is going to take everything from those other shitty apps which didn't work, and they are going to create a better app that's actually going to serve humanity in a better way. Just mark my words, Deep Divers. It's going to start reconnecting people. People will be able to share their experiences in a more authentic way. Okay? I don't know what it's going to be called, but just it's going to drop in 2020. Deep Divers, what's the 9th thing that's going to happen in 2020? There is going to be another event similar to 9/11. I saw it in a dream that something bad is going to happen to the planet. A big catastrophe, a major event. And this event is planned. And it's going to happen sometime in 2020. Because you remember, Deep Divers, you remember 2012, where everyone was getting so excited for this, like, whole awakening. That's when it really kicked in 2012. But then they made a film about 2012, like the end of the world. Well, they tried to mess up the awakening wave. So same thing with 2020, because 2020 is perfect vision. So they are going to try to blind the masses. How do you blind someone? By distracting them. What? Slow motion this side. So there are going to be a lot of false flags, a lot of staged events, so you have to be aware of that. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. We are going to rise, Deep Divers, okay? And what's the 10th thing that's going to happen in 2020, Deep Divers? World prediction, the twin flame reunion. More twin flame reunions than ever, because 2020 is all about the water relationship, not the Coca-Cola relationship. And the water relationship can only happen with clear vision. When you see another being, not just for a backside or a nice pair of breasts or some nice muscles, no, you actually see into their soul. And that's what's going to happen in 2020. You are going to see a lot of people are going to connect with their twin flame and go off into the sunset. Okay, you are going to know with that clear vision, if you are working on yourself right now, who to be with and who not to be with. Who is going to help you evolve and who is going to distract you from your true purpose. That is going to be so clear. All of those green snakes hiding under the green grass are going to be exposed in 2020, because 2020 is the year of revelation. It is the year of the full disclosure. It is the year where the hidden comes to light and there are no more secrets. So this is the year of a greater coming together with someone special. And we are here to create the new world. Deep divers, let me know what you think 2020 is going to be. It can be whatever you want it to be. Remind yourself, the power is you. There is only now. 2020 is only a continuation of your present moment right now. And once you realize that, well, you'll just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? There. Beautiful deep divers. We're just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Shout out to everybody. Deep divers who have been rocking the amazing good ass prana shirts at ralphsmart.com/clothes. Got a question, deep divers? Add me on Instagram at Infinite Waters. And the model search is on for 2020. If you are a sexy ass model, with a lot of heart, DM me on Instagram at Infinite Waters. Oh, I like this one. Well, if you did, deep divers, check out the new book for more information like this that will empower you. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon. 2020 is the year where people choose love over fear. They can't fool us. They can't fool us in 2020 because 2020 is where we see everything for what it actually is. And that's why I'm so excited. Deep divers, I love you all. Have a beautiful day. With the It is finally coming out. Oh, baby. Are you excited, deep divers? The disclosure is finally here on the planet. As we approach the age of Aquarius, the hidden is coming to light, and what is done in the dark will come to the light. The food industry, the truth is finally coming out about it. That what you have been eating isn't exactly food. The music industry is finally getting exposed. The truth is coming out that so many people, so many artists signed 360 deals. They sold their souls for a crappy deal and all they got was a few toys and a Happy Meal. And now so many more people are going independent. They're like, hey, I can do this by myself. It's finally coming out, deep divers, that the news is not there to inform you about what's happening. The news is there to program you about what they want you to believe in. It's finally coming out, deep divers, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. It's finally coming out from the mainstream, from people like Elon Musk, who are saying that the whole world is a simulation. I already knew that, right? Deep divers already knew that. This whole thing is like a video game. And guess what, deep divers? You can become player one. Oh, baby. It's finally coming out, deep divers, that nobody is coming to get you. Nobody is coming to save you. We are the ones we are waiting for. Hello? Isn't that awesome, deep divers? It's finally coming out, deep divers, that we are powerful beyond measure. And the only one in our way is us. The disclosure, but deep divers, the greatest thing that's finally coming out is your voice. That's right. Your voice, your truth. Deep divers, I've been speaking truth to power for a long time. A lot of people are like, Ralph, thank you for being so brave, so confident, so sure of yourself. It's helped me to do the same thing. Deep divers, I was speaking about the fifth dimension before most people. The third eye before most people. Go back and check the archive. Speak your truth, deep divers, even if your voice shakes. It's finally coming out. I'm seeing people all around the world speaking their truth. This is the most liberating thing you can do today, deep divers. Don't die with your song still in you. Express yourself today, and I guarantee you, you will start living your best life, and then just say, well, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? Beautiful deep divers. We're just, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Pure expression out here. Peace. Have a beautiful day, deep divers.
Today I'm at Anjamapura border crossing.